Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 playing a bit of domination here on the map Nuketown, running around with the KN-44 assault rifle, and this weapon has finally started to grow on me. I'm finally enjoying the KN-44, so I know a lot of people love this weapon. During the first couple weeks of Black Ops 3, a lot of people are running around with this gun because it was the first assault rifle that you unlocked. This was the gun that a lot of people had their first Black Ops 3 experience with, therefore they really seemed to like it. But for me personally, I just never could do well with the KN-44. Something about this weapon never seemed to click with me, and therefore I didn't really enjoy using it. Like, I liked it a lot during the beta. You know, back in the beta when it was called the Arc 7, back when it had a completely different name, I thought it was a fine weapon. I enjoyed using it during the beta. It was a good gun. But during the live version of the game here, I just could never click with this weapon for whatever reason. And check out this grenade right here. It's going to land perfectly there on B. You see the smoke right there. That nade, if you throw it just right and you get to just the perfect angle, you can land that grenade on the B flag and save it from the backyard every single time. But keep in mind, it's all about the angle of that grenade, because I can mess it up sometimes. You'll be seeing it throughout this video, which is a spoiler. Every time I die and I spawn here on the A side, I will try to throw that grenade, but sometimes it lands perfectly on B like it did back there. Sometimes it lands a little bit short and lands on the other side of the car and therefore doesn't kill anybody. And other times I mess it up so bad that it just rolls down the top of the roof and it lands like in front of my own front door, right? So it's a very good grenade. It can land on B and save it for your team. It's just you're not always going to hit it. It's always about the angle, and if you can actually figure out where that angle is, and you figure out that sweet spot when throwing your frag grenades, you can save B a lot for your team here on Nuketown, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, the KN-44, I've been enjoying it. I started using it a lot during the past XP weekend here, and we had Nuketown 24/7 playlist, of course, as well, and so that's a good place to really kind of mess around with the KN-44, which it kind of feels that it feels like it has that sweet spot at, you know, a nice medium range. It doesn't feel as though it's amazing at close or long ranges, but here on Nuketown, you can kind of set up a lot of your fights to be at that nice and medium range, and that's really where I think the KN-44 excels. So yeah, I've been trying out this weapon a lot more, and I've been really enjoying it. And I also came up with the idea of the topic to talk about skill-based matchmaking today, because I played a lot of Nuketown this past weekend, and I had a lot of bad teammates, and I wanted to discuss the topic of skill-based matchmaking here in Black Ops 3. So way back in the before Black Ops 3 came out, which really wasn't that long ago, but it feels like Black Ops 3's been out for ages, but it's really only been out for a month or so. But I think it's just because we're all playing so much of it that it seems like it's been out for a very long time. But before Black Ops 3 came out, they announced that the skill-based matchmaking in this game was going to be similar to how it worked in Black Ops 2. And if you guys don't remember how it worked in Black Ops 2, let me run it down for you. They tried to make the connection optimized, right? They wanted to optimize the connection above everything else. That's definitely hard to do. I don't think people really give credit to the Call of Duty developers when they try to make matchmaking work and try to make it so everybody in the lobby has a good connection and everybody in the lobby has an enjoyable experience, right? Because there's weird parties out there. There's people that are playing, you know, East Coast to West Coast here in the United States. There's people that are playing with, you know, from the UK all the way to the United States. There's people that are playing from the United States when they're partied up with people from Australia. Like, it's sometimes hard to get these lobbies set up so everybody's connection just works well together, right? And once they finally do that, once they get everybody into a game and they hope the connection is decent, then they start splitting up the teams. And how they split up the teams, and I don't know the exact details on this, but how they split up the teams is they want to make it so they're relatively even. So if you're like a 2.5 KD player, you can kind of expect to have some 0.8 KD players on your team to kind of even things out, right? They don't want all the 2 KD players being put on one team and then all the negative KD players being put on the other team, or the low score per minute players or the high score per minute players. Like, they want a nice mix. They want to kind of mix up the teams and make it so both teams are relatively even. That's how they try to do the skill-based matchmaking here in Black Ops 3, which is a lot different than how they did it last year with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. In Advanced Warfare, they really seemed to optimize the skill aspect of Call of Duty. They wanted to make sure everybody in the lobby was just as good, if not better, than you, it felt like. And it was really difficult, and a lot of people had a lot of problems with that, because every single video on YouTube seemed to be about skill-based matchmaking. Every single Call of Duty YouTuber made a dozen videos talking about that exact same topic and how it should be changed, or whether or not it should stay, or what their opinions were on it. And it's just a very controversial topic in general. A lot of the matches in Advanced Warfare were very competitive. They were very fast-paced. They were actually frustrating a lot of the time, because if you were an above-average player with a pretty high score per minute and a pretty high kill-death ratio, you ran into some really tough lobbies. You never really got to have a break. You never got to really just relax and play Call of Duty. Every single match was very competitive. Whereas here in Black Ops 3, it's been the opposite. I have ran into a ton of bad players on the other team, which is very enjoyable for me, because it makes Call of Duty more of a laid-back back experience like it was a couple years ago before Advanced Warfare, you know. And before Advanced Warfare, I thought Call of Duty was a laid back experience, but in Advanced Warfare, everything for me anyway was really frustrating and like really fast paced and like just really competitive all the time. If I wanted to do decent, I had to really work for it, and it really kind of took the fun out of Call of Duty after a while. Whereas here in Black Ops 3, that's not the case. People on the other team are generally bad. You know, I will get matched up with some pretty bad players on the other team, but at the same time, I'm also going to get matched up with some pretty bad players on my team. That really seems to be the theme this year, right? A lot of people last year were always talking about skill-based matchmaking and how hard every single match was and how competitive everything was all the time. Whereas the thing this year, if you're a decent player, everybody's talking about how bad their teammates are and how bad they have to carry people all the time, which honestly, I think we should stop complaining about that, because I prefer that system. I prefer a system where the connection is generally going to be good, right? Obviously, it's going to be bad sometimes, but the connection is generally going to be good. You get to have some generally bad players on the other team and on your team, and every now and again you get a nice competitive match. That's how I like Call of Duty. That's how I've always liked Call of Duty, and I'm glad it's like that. And this is the coolest kill cam. As I pick up that kill right there on that guy, I kind of like lunged around it. Like, even on my screen, he was around the corner. We can see it here in the final kill cam, which is just great. So I see this guy, I come sliding down because I want to get this final kill cam. He gets around the corner, but I knife him around the corner somehow as my Ripper blade goes through the wall. I don't know, guys. That was just freaking cool. So yeah, I've really been enjoying the skill-based matchmaking system that they've had here in Black Ops 3. It feels like every other Call of Duty except for Advanced Warfare, which is nice. I like the fact that it just feels like a normal Call of Duty again. It's not ultra competitive all the time, and there's no reverse boosting that I'm aware of anyway. Is there reverse boosting in Black Ops 3? Are people out there doing that? With Advanced Warfare, everybody seemed to be doing it, where they would intentionally tank their stats, or everybody would be playing on Smurf accounts, especially if they played on like the PlayStation, where you get a couple of extra free accounts, and they would intentionally like tank their stats on purpose so they could abuse skill-based matchmaking into thinking that they were terrible players, so they would therefore get matched up and play against terrible players to get easy gameplay for YouTube. And just, I'm glad that all that stuff is gone. I'm glad that the matchmaking is good again. I'm glad that it's just the way it is, and I thank Treyarch for that, because Treyarch, I've said for many years, has always been the better developer in my eyes. I always thought Treyarch was the best one, and I'm glad that their game is out. I'm glad that their way of doing things is back, and I'm glad that everybody in the community really seems to be kind of on Treyarch's side for the most part. Of course, there's going to be some people that disagree with that, but I think a lot of people kind of like lean towards Treyarch now. I think especially because Call of Duty Ghosts was kind of a letdown, and a lot of people didn't like Advanced Warfare because of how bad they changed up the movement system. And so as a result, I think a lot of people are really enjoying Treyarch, and I'm happy about that, because in my opinion, Treyarch makes the best Call of Duty games. So ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this video, just talking a little bit about skill-based matchmaking, talking a little bit about the KN44, talking a little bit here about Nuketown, and mostly talking about teammates. And hopefully you guys will enjoy the commentary. If you did, drop me a like rating. It helps the video grow, and it helps my channel grow as well. And I am forever thankful for you guys that continue to help me and my channel grow. That's definitely awesome. We're getting ever closer up to 400,000 subscribers. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Remember to drop a rating, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.